Hello, welcome one and all to this Christmas week lead off of the indoctrination where we shatter the indoctrination and expose all. I am being a little festive this evening with my halo and my nice Santa hat. Try to kind of skew the good in my direction. um, so I'm getting a good not a sack of coal for Christmas. Although with the heating prices going up, maybe I could use the coal too. But welcome one and all. I hope you had a nice Sunday. I was happy to be able to come in front of you on Saturday evening and spend some quality time with you then, going over some of the things that are happening. And I'm happy to be here with you on this Monday, December 22nd. I hope you had a nice winter solstice. And if you engage in the seasons and the each solstice, very, very powerful in our energy and our energetic bodies, the changing of the seasons, the shift of the sun, etc. So much of it that is actually, coming out that we're finding out more and more about the world that we live in, and also the sheer number of things that we're learning about our world that were kept secret from us, and the shifting of our music, the shifting of our dates, the calendar, the our water, our air, our food. We've been lied to about it all, and we're awakening to these realities and finding different ways to manage our world. And so I'm very glad that we are where we're at in this awakening. We've still got a ways to go, and I'm looking forward to traveling that road with you as these things are revealed. Got a lot to share with you this evening. A lot of videos, a lot of really big things happening. But let me get to the quick chat. Greta Lou first in the house. Welcome. Jan Butler in the house. Kansas, by the way, Jan just got the uh, just wrested away the Kansas City Chiefs from the state of Missouri with a new stadium proposal and the whole bit. So Kansas is now getting the Kansas City Chiefs versus Missouri. So Nita Bells, good to see you. Welcome. Jabla, welcome. Wendy, hello. Smoky Eye, good to see you. C. Cutler, good to see you. The squirrel you've been feeding bit me. I named him Joe Biden. That's funny. Let's see. Hunter, good to see you. Donation Nation, Bossy, my little moonbeam. Very cool. Thank you. And thank you for all your support. And thank you guys who are supporting me and sending beautiful messages my way, and support my way is much appreciated and very necessary for a Merry Christmas. So thank you. And Moonbeam welcoming Sneds and friends. Grandma got run over by a reindeer. Yes, walking home from our house Christmas Eve. Yes. KKY from Nebraska. Deb B, good to see you. Piled greetings, Sned's friends from the corrupt state of Minnesota. Some stuff going down today, my friends. The FBI raiding some offices. So that's getting very interesting. Marie, welcome. Italia, welcome. Modi Yoder, welcome. Lacey Bounds, good to see you. Jan, thank you for posting this out. Moonbeam, thank you very much for that. Let's give Dave Jasper and Mr. Whistle Whiskers a Merry Christmas. Much appreciated. That's on in the Rumble chat, and I'll also put that on the YouTube chat as well. Um, thank you for that. And let me get to that. So let's see who else. Tammy Joe, Mount Rushmore, AK. The Faces checking in. Very cool. Happy Monday, everyone. Hey, Dave. Hey, everyone. Good to see you. Sean Caulfield, anxiously waiting. Waken Trillium. Good to see you. Very cool. Maggie. Yeah, great to be here with you all. Got the popcorn and beer. Hi, David Sneds. Gino in the house. Catherine, good to see you, my friend. Motor Yoder, does anyone have any good remedies for plantar fasciitis? I got these orthotics when I had it that just raised my arch and it took away the pain. And then I went from orthotics to barefoot shoes, and I learned how to walk and touch my outside of my foot and use my arch as a muscle, as a shock absorber, which we're supposed to do when we walk. Not heel strike drop, but come through. So that will strengthen your arch as well, and you won't need heels. Fill that wheel, everyone. Want to give someone a nice Christmas gift. Thank you, Hunter Sabo. And we'll do the wheel spin tomorrow. Tomorrow night will be the last show of the week. And I look forward to spending that with you and hopefully sending us into Christmas with some more good news. Mary, good to see you, my friend. Pretty Woman 10. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all you wonderful Snedhead patriots. Beautiful. Thank you. Peggy Gatley, happy Monday. A lot going on from the weekend and today at the White House. Hi from Visalia, California. Velma in the house. Good to see you. So very, very, very cool, my friends. Thank you. Yeah, so let's do, and please join us over on Snedheads, my friends. This is, going into 2026, it's going to be a big year for snedheads.com, transferring over to the Rubicon with a Q. More on that later, but it's going to be very, 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 very good. Sharon Tinsley, Merry Christmas, everyone. Remember, Jesus is the reason for the season. Yeah. D. Schmaltz, everyone have a very merry, blessed Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. Very cool. Awesome. Doveru from Reseda. Good to see you, my friend. How you doing? Thanks for being here. Will Dave be sporting a Santa hat tonight? Did you ask that before I came on? That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's Christmas week, man. We gotta step it up. Santa Sned. Yeah. I'm trying to stay off the naughty list. Yeah. Thank you all. Very cool. Aloha, Merry Christmas, Dave. Thank you. Jules, Merry Christmas, everyone. Very cool. Like the pagan satanic roots of Christmas. Yeah, we'll here's the thing. When something it permeates the culture like Christmas has for us, we can all still be very aware of the the roots of it and the misalignment with it. But it's kind of tough to just step completely out of the this celebration, and much easier to just welcome it and celebrate what it means to us individually. I have to admit, I am joyous. Yes. BP. Epstein stuff is creepy. Yes, exactly. Goody Two Shoes, good to see you. Jingle, good evening, all. Camp Mother B, hello. Half Truths. I hope Trump gives us a Christmas present that we've all been waiting for. I think it's going to be Christmas in January with some of that. Um, it's but we'll see. We'll see. We just don't know when, right? Um, let's see. Do yoga for feet. Orthotics will make it worse in the long run. Robin, the orthotics I only used, I think, for a couple weeks, and that took away the pain because I think it would be hard to do the yoga for feet with all that pain. But I think the key is to get rid of the pain and then strengthen the foot and the arch. But you may know more than I. Castor oil for that. Okay. Practice walking bare feet with your tiptoes spread out. Yep, that's all good. That's all helping you, catch your body weight. William, Merry Christmas, Dave. We love what you do. Thank you, William. I appreciate that, and appreciate the support, everyone. Yes, let's see. Okay. I have a coffee cup that says naughty, nice. I tried is checked off. Nice. That's funny. Yes, I've heard middle of January, but I don't know. I think that's because the grand jury, I think, will be convening in January. And I think, Barack Obama is going to be at the head of that list, given the what's coming out right now. All right. Well, welcome one and all. Let's see. I do yoga for feet and right leg after hip surgery. Very cool. Very cool. Well, we got some pretty health-centric, health-conscious people a lot in this chat, so you're going to get some great feedback. Okay, my friends. Well, let me see. First of all, let me take care of something here. Okay. I just want to put, let's see, we're in the chat here. I don't know what that's, choose a handle. Got it. Okay. It's making me choose a handle to post. Okay. Let's see. Okay. All right. So let me share a few things for you. A lot going on, folks, and I just want to talk about real quick. Okay. So okay. Was the Epstein list of what we've seen so far, was it a bust? Was it a bust? Well, yes, in terms of like no one's really being exposed. It's too much of it is redacted. And where is all that blame going? Well, it's going to the DOJ and Trump. And the narrative is that they're trying to hide and redact all of the Trump connection with Epstein. That's the narrative. And we're hearing more and more about this. And what's very interesting is that who is now asking for the release of the Epstein files. Let me play this for you.
I just popped on so you don't instantly start scrolling. Let this guy rant, and I'll be right back.
I'm so sick and tired of these Democrats, dog. Y'all are such hypocrites. Now that the Epstein files came out, we see Bill Clinton in a jacuzzi laid out like this here. And we see him in his little silk shirt standing next to Jeffrey Epstein. Now y'all don't have nothing to say. Now all of a sudden, you on the witch hunt after Trump. Oh, well, Trump was at Epstein Island. They deleting information because Trump name on it. What about Bill Clinton? He need to address that.
I agree. I think Bill Clinton and anyone else implicated or involved in those photos should have to make some sort of statement, should have to say something about, oh, look, he did. Bill Clinton just called for Trump to release the full Epstein files, including all documents mentioning both Trump and Clinton. Refusal to do so will confirm the widespread suspicions the DOJ's actions to date are not about transparency, but about insinuation. And here it is, if you want to pause it and read it. Here's the statement where he's saying, yeah, release the files, release all of it. And yeah, he's in pictures and I want answers, but it also is weird when some of the pictures are stuff like this with faces blanked out. When we confirm this is a picture we already know of, which is Bill Clinton with Michael Jackson, Diana Ross's son, and Michael Jackson's 2 children. This makes it look like it's Bill Clinton and Michael Jackson with victims, and it's not. But buried among the original posters' whataboutisms is this gem.
You don't see any photos of Donald Trump in the jacuzzi laid out.
Yeah, that's weird. Why don't we have any pictures of Donald Trump in a hot tub or in other compromising positions?
This one's not readable. It's completely redacted.
Oh, that's right, because they're redacting the fuck out of everything. In fact, out of the heavily redacted stuff they've released, which is only a fragment of what they have, they've already gone back and started deleting stuff that they realized they didn't want to release. Stuff that had pictures of Donald Trump in them that people missed. And then they deleted after the fact. Also, not for nothing, that picture of Bill Clinton in the hot tub. That hot tub has been confirmed as being a public hot tub at a hotel, not at the house or the island. They were at some hotel. But just to be clear, I made this and I stand by that shit. I don't care if you're a billionaire or a movie star. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. I don't care if I even voted for you. In fact, if I voted for you, I probably wanted even more. So yeah, release all the files. And you chuckle fucks sitting here trying to make excuses, you're just apologists for people who preyed on children. And that says a lot of fucked up shit about you.
Okay, so a couple things. One is that I'm going to read Bill's statement, Bill Clinton. Angela Urena, spokesman for former President Bill Clinton. The Epstein Files Transparency Act imposes a clear legal duty on the U.S. Department of Justice to produce the full and complete record the public demands and deserves. However, what the Department of Justice has released so far in the manner in which it did so makes one thing clear. Someone or something is being protected. We do not know whom, what, or why, but we do know this. We need no such protection. Accordingly, we call on President Trump to direct Attorney General Bondi to immediately release any remaining materials referring to, mentioning, or containing a photograph of Bill Clinton. This includes, without limitation, any records that may exist and are subject to disclosure under the Act, including grand jury transcripts, interview notes, photographs, and findings by the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York. By the way, that's where the Anthony Weiner laptop is, as referenced under oath to Congress by President Trump's first-term Attorney General. Refusal to do so will confirm the widespread suspicion the Department of Justice's actions to date are not about transparency, but about insinuation, using selective releases to imply wrongdoing about individuals who have already been repeatedly cleared by the very same Department of Justice over many years under presidents and attorneys general of both parties. Interesting. So this is, Bill Clinton asking for the release of the Epstein files. Okay. And the interesting thing about this is that we knew that, that Bill Clinton was all over these Epstein files. But what we didn't know is that he would be asking for them. We were told that we would be Um, the way in which President Trump, even though, and I posted this the other day, the Tuesday Q Deltas on the day that President Trump said, "Are we still talking about this Epstein guy?" I went live that night, showed 11 posts that were all about Jeffrey Epstein and blackmail. Okay, on the Q posts on the day that President Trump said, "We still talking about this Epstein guy," and I told you that it was going to be, going to get the mainstream media and Democrats to scream for the files, including black pillars and anti-Trumpers. And so this was brilliantly staged. Now, this last release, where the narrative is coming out that the DOJ has redacted things about Trump, and we've actually seen things taken out that were actually showed a picture of Trump on that table. So that's almost, to me, it's almost like a setup, because there's not much that the mainstream media is covering that wasn't a setup by the Trump administration. They're setting these guys up for failure every single time. So all these people that are crying out and saying that Trump is keeping these files away. First of all, the DOJ is going to have to release more information. They've already said they're going to do so with less redactions. But they're really getting people to look at them, aren't they? They're really getting people to talk about them, and more so. So to me, trying to keep Trump out of those files is futile. So why would they do it? They do it in this first tranche to get people saying, yeah, he's still trying to bury it, so that when they really release this stuff, it's going to confirm all the people that are really dialed in badly with Epstein. And I think what's happening too is that they also understand that the things that they've redacted would also expose Israel in a very negative way. And Q has said we're saving Israel for last, and I believe that that's actually happening. So so this is the narrative as well. I'm going to play you a few of the narratives that are being spread. Here's another one.
They will never release the Jeffrey Epstein files. People keep hoping and demanding it, but I assure you they will destroy our own government before those files are ever released. Don't believe me? Listen to one of the most influential politicians herself.
I have said to people when they ask me, if this Capitol crumbled to the ground, the one thing that would remain is our commitment to our aid, and I don't even call it aid, our cooperation with Israel.
Not our aid with them, but our cooperation. Just the manner in which they protect Epstein himself. What does that imply? Epstein was not some individual working for himself for his own pleasure. How did he get so much government protection? And where did he get the billions of dollars to do all this stuff? Private airplanes, mansions, private island, billions of dollars. He wasn't born rich. He was born economically middle class. He was provided all that money and ways to do his job. It was a honey trap. If he was a lone individual in a criminal case, he would not be so well protected. And if he was working for America, he wouldn't be so well protected either. He was working for an intelligence agency overseas. And it's not that our government won't let that information out, that other government won't let that information out. That's a list of all the world leaders and businessmen who are compromised and work as assets for that foreign country. So even if it means that our capital will crumble to the ground, that information is not coming out. And all of this is just another indicator that America does not even rule itself.
So do you see how important I believe this narrative is? And I do believe to have Bill Clinton calling for the Epstein files, I believe that's a white hat script without question. Now, here's the thing. Let's say they release the files and Trump is implicated very negatively. Why didn't they use those files against him before? They tried everything to get this man out. Why didn't they release the Epstein files that they had access to? Don't forget that. They've had access to these files ever since Epstein was arrested, ever since Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested, both, by the way, under the Trump administration, these people were arrested. Okay. They've had these files in the Biden FBI. Why didn't they release files if they knew they could take out President Trump? So that's something that I want you all to remember. Now, don't get me wrong. If these files are released and Trump, goes down with a ship, I'll say, I was wrong. I thought there's no way that they have information on President Trump, because that's what I believe now. But I'll say I was wrong. Okay. But how about the people that are, claiming that Trump's in them and that's why he's doing this? And they come out and we see all these bad players being exposed except Trump, and they're going to still be looking for Trump stuff. I mean, this stuff came out and a lot of creepy photos with Bill Clinton and Epstein and wearing the same shirt and, in the hot tub. I wasn't aware that that was a public hot tub. I'm still not aware. I'm not convinced of that. Why would they redact that picture? They did redact pictures of Michael Jackson and his children to make it look like they were with young children that they might have been abusing. So there have been some very interesting developments as these things are being released. But it's I don't buy it. I don't buy that this is what's going down. And what I do buy and what I do think is going to happen is that these files that are going to be released in much more clear detail are going to expose all the bad players in Hollywood that we've talked about, the bad players in politics, and also the connection to Israel. And I think that's why they're being carefully, released. And I think that's it. Now I want to talk to you about this too, and bear with me. I'm going to share with you this clown who we can't stand, but I want to show him because I'm gonna lay him out in a minute.
Yeah, so this is really bad and easily one of the worst scandals of Trump's second term. Last night, 60 Minutes was supposed to be running a segment on Donald Trump's inhumane treatment of immigrants, specifically focusing on CCOT, that insane prison in El Salvador that Trump has been sending people to. But then out of nowhere, 3 hours before it's meant to air, 60 Minutes posted this. The broadcast lineup for tonight's edition of 60 Minutes has been updated. Our report inside CCOT will air in a future broadcast. This is pretty weird, very rare. Don't remember the last time something like this happened. And then it turns out that the story was killed by Barry Weiss, CBS's new editor-in-chief, who's also incredibly conservative and incredibly MAGA. The piece was going to be devastating for Donald Trump, and she killed it because the White House wanted her to. The journalist behind the story sent a letter to colleagues saying, our story was screened 5 times and cleared by both CBS attorneys and standards and practices. It is factually correct. In my view, pulling it now after every rigorous internal check has been met is not an editorial decision, it's a political one. She also said, if the administration's refusal to participate becomes a valid reason to spike a story, we essentially give them a kill switch, which is exactly what happened. This is what we call state censorship.
Okay, so do you want to know the real story that this 60 Minutes story was, held? It hasn't been canceled. It's being held to be released because this journalist didn't have anyone from the Trump administration talking about even being interviewed. How can that be an accurate story if you don't have the people that are actually doing it being interviewed? sending them to this prison in El Salvador? How can you not interview them? How can you not interview the families of the people who were lost their child to illegal immigration? I guarantee it's a hit piece on 60 Minutes because that's exactly what they do. But you're not getting the full story there. Okay. And it's important that we get the full story. Now, let me take you to one other thing here. This is with the whole, Epstein release story. I mentioned, I think it might be the white hat script that Bill Clinton is reading to have these files released. I never thought I'd see that. I never thought I'd hear that. But 26 trips that we know of to Epstein Island, Airfuck One, pictures of him getting massages from young girls, pictures of him with Rachel Chandler, pictures of him with, I believe Virginia Giuffre. The fact that Virginia Giuffre was suicided, which the Clintons are famous for. A lot of things that have happened that just don't make a lot of sense. And so with this, announcement from Bill Clinton to release these Epstein files, we never thought we'd see it. He reposted Angel Urena, okay, his kind of his press secretary. Okay. And the timestamp on that is 1:09 p.m. So if you go to 1:09, you see the sword of St. Michael. St. Michael, the archangel, defend us in battle, be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, cast down to hell Satan and all his evil spirits who prowl about the world seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. Amen, brother. That was sent by an Anon. Now, but we always drop the 0 on these. So we go to 19. This is the real one. This, again, is the timestamp of Bill Clinton's mention about the Epstein files, releasing them, and how the DOJ is not they're breaking the law. Number 19, November 1st, 2017. Why do Democrats want to control the black population? Why do they intentionally keep poor and in need? Why do the Democrats project racism on a daily basis against the Republicans? Why do black elected officials do the crazy talk on behalf of the Dems? Why do Dems cover the historical facts of forming the Confederacy, KKK, and oppose all things pro-black regarding legislation? What happens if the Democrats lose the slave grip on the black population, which they have? Why do Democrats, through the funding of the CIA, prop up and install Hollywood media assets? Does this fall within Operation Mockingbird? It was very clear to us, folks. And this is, when Trump came down the escalator, I've shared this story many times, but I thought, here's another billionaire like what's his name that ran for mayor of New York, Bloomberg, and won. Here's another billionaire just going to throw money at a race, at a public race. And but then I saw who was against him. And one of the groups that was against him, out of many, was Hollywood. And I saw what they were trying to hide. And I saw what the music industry was trying to hide. What were the historical advantages Democrats gained by having mainstream media and famous people peddling the narrative? Look at, Sean Penn going over to Ukraine and giving him his Oscar. Yeah, he deserves an Oscar, all right, because he's an actor and he's acting a hell of a lot better than most. What's his name? Ben Stiller got paid. I think they both got paid by USAID to go over there. That was just a paycheck. So who exposed the pedo network within Hollywood? You can't answer the above, but will laugh once disclosed details. So we're talking about the pedo network within Hollywood, and this is the timestamp on Bill Clinton's post about the release of the Epstein files. I don't think this is an accident, folks. And if I was, President Clinton's guy, I'd say hold off on that post, 2 minutes, because in 2 minutes it doesn't relate. You can't answer the above, but will laugh once disclosed details. A network which controls this false narrative, which in turn keeps the black population under control, is being dismantled. False local and national black leaders will be exposed next as shills for the Democrat Party. Follow the money. Maxine Waters has a $4 million home and cash assets in excess of $6 million. How is that possible? One example. All of these questions help to paint the full picture. There you go. Okay. This is the timestamp of Bill Clinton's post requesting Epstein files be released. Okay. Now, I want to play these last two videos for you because President Trump just reposted them within the last hour on Truth Social. So let me play these.
Infighting on the right, personalities taking each other, MAGA civil war, divisions emerging. Infighting on the right, personalities taking swipes at each other, MAGA civil war, divisions emerging. Look, I've been in this movement since like the 1980s, and intra-party fights have always been there. I remember what they did to Pitchfork Pat Buchanan, okay? But while policy differences are hashed out, we need to stay optimistic, people, because perpetual cynicism and discontent is both unappealing and unwarranted. Because after 11 months back in office, Donald Trump and his team have put America back on track and pushed Democrats further to the radical left. Now, to really understand how far we've come, let's remember where we started, on the border.
Another migrant caravan is reportedly on its way to our southern border. AP reports nearly 1,000 migrants are recently crossing from Guatemala into Mexico and heading north.
31 states have a population less than the number of people you've let in. Why did you open up the border? Why did you create this catastrophe?
We did not open up the border. Senator, we enforced the law.
There have been more than 1 million migrant crossings since October 1st, when the new fiscal year began. We have never hit that milestone this early on. The CBP revealing Chinese migrants are the fastest growing group, with nearly 20,000 illegally crossing since October.
So, and how do things look on the border now?
We were here 2 years ago where migrants used to carry children on their backs to get across this river and cut through this barbed wire to get to the United States. They would see hundreds, even thousands a day in this very spot. But today, it's silent.
Business owner Leo Martinez is a Democrat who voted for Trump, saying his once 8-hour commute to his factories across the border now takes 20 minutes.
Now, if you look at the border, it's super quiet. So whatever the current administration done, it's working.
Whatever they're doing, it's working. Zero illegals crossing, drug cartels frustrated, less crime, fewer women and children. Democrats supposed to care so much of them. Fewer of them are being brutalized. Because of Donald Trump, some of the worst criminals who've been protected by Soros DAs and sanctuary city mayors have been shipped home. Like these gems. Andrew Javier Padron Chacare from Venezuela. ICE officials said he's a TDA gang member convicted of theft. Humberto Disla Sarita from the Dominican Republic, convicted of conspiracy to import at least 50 kilos of cocaine. Just yesterday, we found out that ICE officers lodged a detainer for Santos Paulina Vasquez Ramirez, an illegal from Guada, who crossed the border in 2013 under Obama. On December 1st, he strangled a taxi cab driver to death in Brewster, New York. By the way, that was over a fare dispute. They found the victim floating in a nearby reservoir 6 days later. So these are the types of people that Democrats allowed into the country, the types of people that Democrats protected. protected, by the way, while they were here living amongst us, and who the Trump administration is ridding us of. Now, Trump won in large part last year because he was committed to removing all illegal aliens from the country. So the rule now is leave voluntarily, and then you'll be able to reapply the right way, come back in the right way, lead a clean and simple life. It's easy to follow and understand. And by the way, any move now to carve out exceptions or soften this position because some restaurant owner pushes a sob story about some sweet, restaurant worker, fry cook, because some donor loves her illegal nanny, that would backfire big time. Headlines would be Trump caves. Democrats would celebrate, MAGA would shatter, bye-bye midterms. But beyond the border, let's not forget how Biden cost us thousands of dollars, each of us, every year in higher gasoline bills.
A new record high, jumping 17 cents in a week, causing sticker shock nationwide.
I'd say it affecting me every day.
I do have to budget a little bit differently just for gas.
There's so much that is beyond any leader in the globe's control. Gas prices today are over $5 a gallon in the United States. If you were in Canada, you would be paying over $6.20, something like that. If you were in Germany, you'd be paying $8 a gallon.
And now, what do we have now? The lowest gas prices in 4 years.
A fresh 4.5-year low, 3.5-year low of $2.95 a gallon as of today. That is miles away from the all-time high set back in 2022 under former President Biden, above $5 a gallon.
That's an automatic tax cut. And let's not forget that where Stumbling Joe and Yucko Yellen, where they had us on the inflation issue.
We're making considerable progress in bringing inflation down.
The U.S. government reported inflation has hit 8.6%, the highest it's been in 40 years.
Take any blame for inflation, Mr. President?
I take any blame for inflation? No.
I get military benefits. If it wasn't for the benefits that I get, I mean, I don't know how I'd be making it.
Biden left us with an inflation rate of 3.3% after hitting a high of 9.1% during his administration. It's just now cooling to 2.7%, thank God, and Trump. And if you took out the inflation rate in the blue states, by the way, it would even be lower. Consider Dallas, where inflation is running at only 1.1% over the year. The South generally has more muted price increases. Now, why is that? The reason for that is because we have better state government, lower taxes in those states, and less red tape in those states. Makes sense. And then there's foreign policy. Here's the way it was.
There's no crisis line with China. We know that Lloyd Austin, his counterpart, wasn't picking up when the U.S. tried, or when Lloyd Austin tried to call.
President Biden says he stands squarely behind his decision to withdraw all U.S. troops despite Afghanistan's descent into chaos as the Taliban seize full control of the country.
But under Trump, America is back in the driver's seat. We're going after the narco terrorists. We're focusing on securing our hemisphere. And we're working to pressure China by cutting our addiction to cheap Chinese imports. Trump's tariffs were hugely important in beginning to reset the global trade balance, too.
Trillions of dollars is coming into our country from other countries and companies. They're building factories and plants, including auto plants, all over the United States of America. Without tariffs, they wouldn't be doing anything.
That means rebuilding our industrial capacity, including our military capacity. And today, the focus was on shipbuilding. Remember, it is a travesty, but we've fallen far behind other countries, mostly China, thanks to years of stupid industrial outsourcing. Trump is the only president to actually get the fact that this is a national priority.
Each one of these will be the largest battleship in the history of our country, the largest battleship in the history of the world ever built. So we're talking about 10, but we're going to start with 2, and we're going to quickly morph into 10. And ultimately, we think it's going to be anywhere from 20 to 25 of these.
Shipbuilding is a priority. And from war to peace, Trump wants to be known as the peace president. And he's worked harder to bring adversaries, bitter adversaries, to the table than anyone I can remember in recent memory. When the Gaza war dragged on, J.D. Vance delivered a message to Netanyahu. Wrap it up, he said. And don't think about annexing most of the West Bank, or you'll lose all U.S. support. Because of this pressure, the peace deal that eluded Biden and Blinken eventually got done. Of course, the media, though, they're seeing all this and they're rooting against peace. They hate giving Trump any credit. So expect headlines like this: peace deal is unraveling. Keith Richburg in the Washington Post, guess we're not going to put it up. But not all dispute resolution will hold. Gaza will be hard to manage. But my goodness, Trump deserves major kudos for getting enemies to talk, for getting enemies to come to the table and hammer things out. Now, I could go on and on about this year. Job creation going almost exclusively to native-born Americans, the end of taxpayer subsidies for trans surgeries, mutilating our kids on your dime. That was insane. That's over. The work of Doge to expose the waste and the end of the NGO industrial complex. His stellar cabinet, especially compared to Biden's showcase of goofballs. So in the end, here's the message. Don't bend to your critics. This has been a phenomenal year. Don't let yourselves get buffeted by the same people who were working against you in 2021 and 2022. They're not your friends. Focus on the people, hardworking Americans. You do that, and next year is going to be fabulous. And no, for all of you out there, now, of course we didn't get everything we wanted. The angle didn't. We wanted Congress to end the filibuster, to put Trump's policies into law. We hoped deportations would be swifter and broader. We wanted another tax cut. We wanted the Doge spending cuts dropped into the bill. Big, beautiful bill. We wanted no technology to China. We wanted a clear industrial policy, but still, with a thin majority, oh my goodness, Speaker Mike Johnson, Senator Thune, Trump, they pushed through the big, beautiful bill. And to this date, no one, and I mean no one, at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue has been better on the border, better for American workers. And in recent years, no one comes close to Donald Trump. And my message to the White House, keep it going. Stay on the right path. 2026 really is going to be the best that's yet to come. And that's the angle.
So a lot of great stuff there. And I want to see if.
Joining us now, and I'm delighted they're with us.
Here we go. I'm going to play. President Trump also shared this next video I'm going to share with you as well.
Joining us now, and I'm delighted they're with us, Alex Marlow, the great Jason Miller, both of you fabulous Americans. Couldn't think of anyone I'd rather spend time with at the end of the year. Alex, we saw a lot of infighting over the weekend, some interesting debates, important issues, but I think that tends to obscure the huge progress that has been made by Trump in 2025. Your reaction to what I just said in the angle, disagree with me if you want. I'm fine with that too. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, you really laid out a lot there, Laura, that I absolutely loved. And I think I agree with your take on the infighting. I think a lot of it's performative. It's sort of looking like Real Housewives of MAGA all of a sudden. And it's very strange that's happening and counterproductive unless you're trying to just grow podcasts and stuff, which I respect. It's a business, whatever, but it's not essential. What is essential is that if Donald Trump had not won, what we'd be going through right now, the lawfare superstructure will have vanquished our biggest chance to save America. And instead, we'd be looking at more inflationary policies, a bunch of more deficit spending instead of seeing inflation going down. We'd have a border that's open instead of no new crossings. We would have no most favored nation policy with drug companies. So big pharma would continue to run over us that we're seeing. We would have no bombing of drug boats. We would have the media still with credibility, which has been totally vanquished. Donald Trump has accomplished so much, but just thinking about the border, Laura, you and I were on the front lines 10 years ago. We've seen the most progress in the last year as we've seen in the history of this country on that issue. How about tariffs? They told us it was all going to be inflationary. Inflation is coming down. We've got tens of billions in revenue coming in. This is all thanks to Donald Trump resetting America in this regard. It's historic, and it's only going to get better.
Jason, at the same time, you can sense that there is a lot of pressure being put on the White House to moderate, to bend on core issues that he won on in 2016 and he won on again in 2020. On the issue of immigration especially, how important is it for them to go full steam ahead on the way they've done this and if anything, pick up the pace?
Well, it's extremely important because that was such a key central issue of the president's campaign in 2024. And when you look at 2025, they really could sum it up in 4 words: promises made, promises kept. And that's what's driving the Democrats so crazy right now. It's what's causing them to cry in their gluten-free eggnog or deliriously make non-binary snow angels out in the front yard, is President Trump has delivered for all Americans, whether they voted for him or not. You take a look at the receipts that you and Alex pointed out. The border is secure. Pride in America is back. And we went from an economic doom under Joe Biden to an economic boom with President Trump. You look at that middle class tax cut bill, it's going to put about an extra $13,000 in the pockets of every family. We see inflation, which they told us was permanent, being brought down to record lows. And I think what we're going to see in Q1 and Q2 of next year is going to really take off like a rocket ship and help all Americans.
Alex, and I think about recent years. I mean, no one gets everything they want. I mean, politics is the art of the deal. I mean, the art of the deal, you have to compromise on some things. But on core beliefs, Trump has been, I can't think of a president who's been better on the core issues that matter to this country than he has. Is it everything I want? Absolutely not. But guess what? I didn't win the presidency 2 times. I didn't come back from attempted assassination, people trying to put him in jail. And the story of this year, just the fact that he's there and fighting every day, people have got to these are kind of the good times right now. And if people don't think these are the good times, wait till if the Democrats win in 2026.
I love the fighting. I love how he trolls people. He always baits people with these 97.3 and these 80-20 issues like bombing drug boats. And he's got the left and the media in knots as always. And that's such a delight to watch. We really do need to enjoy it. But just think about how hard it was that first term when the Republican establishment co-opted some of the administration. And think about what we'd be looking at now. We'd be looking at tax hikes coming in next year instead of tax cuts. We'd be looking at, for our crowd, for you, me, and Jason, debanking, deplatforming, going to jail perhaps just for holding our political beliefs, all of that stuff, transgender for everyone, all the things that the Democrats would be focused on right now. Instead, we've got this ascendant MAGA agenda. And look at what a mess they are with tampon Timmy Walls and Gavin Newsom and his ridiculous hand gestures. I mean, they have nothing. They're completely behind the 8 ball now. They have all these leftist radicals. Eric Swalwell, who's leading that party?
Yeah, if Trump bends on any of his key views, they're just going to be doing the Snoopy dance, celebrating, and be like, if we got him to bend on that, we have him over a barrel. That's why he's not going to do it. Jason, really quickly, they are doing specific things, too, that are really important, like the scam of the wind farms. Great news today that they're suspending that Vineyard Wind project off of the Atlantic. That is a total outrage and a scam. I exposed it in unique exclusive video over the summer. It's mostly foreign companies, foreign interests own these things, destroying our oceans, total national security problem. And guess what? They're saying, no, we're not doing this. I think it's brilliant, and it goes right to the heart of the green energy scam.
Absolutely. And you look at the $9 billion or so that Russ Vought, who runs OMB, was able to go through and surgically remove in certain places. Or, of course, the Doge effort that Elon Musk went in and helped President Trump cut out these massive chunks. By stopping this reckless spending, that's one of the biggest things of why we've been able to get inflation under control and go and bring that down, because we're going right off a cliff with Joe Biden. But these cuts that we're able to make against these wasteful programs, this is transformed completely American business. Now businesses are talking about CapEx growth of some 15% this year, which means more investing back in the companies, more jobs, higher paying jobs, instead of going to these ridiculous things like wind farms. And think of the poor whales, think of the poor birds. I think that should explain it right there.
I think the best is definitely yet to come. But man, considering this thin majority and everything he has to deal with, this has been an unbelievable year. People should be in a really good mood. I think they're going to get in a better mood next year.
Yeah, I agree. I think so as well. So President Trump dropped those last 2 videos on his Truth Social within the last hour. I want to take you to what's happening with the Minnesota situation. Let me share this with you now. This is very, very interesting what's happening here.
Ilhan Omar. Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison. We see a web of connections between them and those directly involved in the fraud. For example, Ilhan Omar, alleged enabling introducing the 2020 Meals Act, which was ultimately subject to fraud, held a campaign victory party at the Safari restaurant. That's where one of the men who run that restaurant has associations to the convicted individuals. And then there's Tim Walz. House oversight investigation role in his role as governor, or Keith Ellison, the attorney general. His job is to enforce the law in Minnesota, but instead he's getting donations after meeting with the Feeding Our Future representatives. The Feeding Our Future, the biggest known yet part of this entire theft ring. Ilhan Omar, Tim Walz, attorney general.
Theft ring. It's a theft ring, my friends. And this is what happened today. Joshua Hall reports this. The FBI raiding these offices in Minnesota for their documents. This ought to be very interesting coming out, my friends. The story on this, that they just raided top members of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz's administration related to the over $9 billion theft of taxpayer funds that occurred in the state under Walz's watch and direction. Tim Walz, they're building a case on Walz himself, and took millions of dollars in bribes and kickbacks from Somalians and others in what is being called one of the worst state government scandals in theft of taxpayer funds in U.S. history. The Walz are quite literally closing in on Walz with his arrest, inevitable ouster from office, whether it be resignation or impeachment, and criminal prosecution said to be imminent. Tampon Tim will go down as one of the most corrupt governors in the history of our country. The damage he has done to the state of Minnesota is immeasurable, with his influx of violent Somalian thugs to terrorize and replace Americans in order to steal elections, and his massive conspiracy to work with them to rob the people of his state of billions of dollars of their hard-earned money. It's no wonder that Kamala Harris picked him to be her VP of choice. Crooks of a feather flock together. The jig is up and justice is coming for this Democrat. Arrest Tim Walz now. This is from Joshua Hall. I recommend you give a follow to. So, that's all going down. Like, this is like, we're seeing this. And by the way, Minnesota is the tip of the proverbial iceberg. Think about how much money has been taken out of how much money has been stolen in other states like California. It's going to get very interesting, folks. Here is Kristi Noem talking about this.
You know, you told me to look into Minnesota and their fraud on visas and their programs. 50% of them are fraudulent, which means that wacko Governor Walz either is an idiot or he did it on purpose. And I think he's both, sir. He brought people in there illegally that never should have been in this country, said they were somebody that they're not. They said they were married to somebody who was their brother or somebody else. Fraudulent visa applications, signed up for government programs, took hundreds of billions of dollars from the taxpayers, and we're going to remove them and we're going to get our money back.
Sounds good to me. This is what I voted for. This kind of corruption being exposed. And by the way,
you told me to look in.
DHS, President Trump, have decided to extend the amount of money from $1,000 to $3,000 over the holidays for anybody that wants to go back to their home and be deported, allow themselves to be deported. they'll have an opportunity to come back in the country, but they also get $3,000 to spend in the country that they're going back to. This was the Turning Point USA event is very interesting. I'll share more about that. But this is Tulsi at the Turning Point event talking about Sharia law, speaking of all these migrants.
Which issued a call to action to use American legal and political systems to implement Sharia law. This is already underway in places. This is already underway in places like Houston. This is not something that may possibly happen. It is already happening here within our borders. Paterson, New Jersey is proud to call themselves the first Muslim city. They are working to implement in their own governments these Islamic principles that are forced on people through the use of laws or violence. The bottom line is this: when we talk about the threat of Islamism, this political ideology, there is no such thing as individual freedom or liberty. As Charlie said over and over again, it is fundamentally incompatible with our nation's foundation of freedom. And at its core, when we understand that our freedom comes from God and no one else, we understand the seriousness of this Islamist ideology threat, because it means they deny that God is the one who has bestowed this right to freedom in every one of us.
Speaking out against Sharia law, I'm down with that. And this is, speaking of all the fraud that's been going on, this is what Doge has uncovered.
Leap forward for us, just like software was 50 years ago. And of course, we continue to see savings across how much we're spending on the government side. Jobs are being created in the private sector, not in the government sector. And then inflation is under control, and inflation particularly in red states where we've got low energy prices. And so again, I think we're going to, the tale of two policy paths are going to be that all of the capital, record amounts of capital spending going on in this country, it's going to flow towards those places. That amazing leap forward for us, just like.
So, by the way, if you go to Snedheads and you go to research Q drops, you click on research Q drops, it'll take you to all the different Q sites that you can go to follow those: capital letter counter, Grok, Ingersoll Lockwood, US debt clock, gematria, calculator, and Doge. And if you click on Doge, it'll take you to the numbers that you just saw on Fox News. So you can get these numbers anytime just by going through Snedheads. And so I have a lot of tools there for you that you can access so that we can, get our own information as it's coming out. So let me take you to, excuse me. Some of this, the money that's going out of the country. Okay. This was on Real America's Voice. Here, let me play this for you.
And let me say something about Senator Graham. There will be news coming out in the next couple of months about how he has profited financially off of money that came out of Ukraine, laundered through Latvia, and made its way into his bank account. And we're talking significant amounts of money. Department of Justice is looking at it.
All right, those are serious allegations leveled by CIA officer, former CIA officer Larry Johnson. We shall see.
And let me say something.
We felt that, Graham has been, swamped for a very long time. And we've been frustrated by President Trump's support of him. And yet we know he's dirty. So I believe it's just a matter of time before he gets exposed for all of this. And I believe that's absolutely coming. This is the U.S. Marshal Service, and they, if you're wondering what the Trump administration is doing about the children, U.S. Marshals led Operation Northern Lights results in the recovery and location of 43 missing children. In conjunction with numerous law enforcement partners, led a missing child operation in December that resulted in the recovery and location of 43 critically missing children from 14 counties across North Florida. Operation Northern Lights included a comprehensive multidisciplinary task force of federal, state, and local government agencies, as well as social services and the medical community and non-governmental organizations, the NGOs. Operational planning and coordination led to the execution of a 2-week initiative geared to recover or safely locate the most critically missing youth. The U.S. Marshals Service defines critically missing children as those at risk of crimes of violence or those with other elevated risk factors, such as substance abuse, sexual exploitation, crime exposure, or domestic violence. An initiative of this magnitude has not been previously undertaken in Northern Florida until this month. Over 80 personnel from 25 different agencies, including law enforcement, social services, federal and state attorneys' offices, and nonprofits, worked together to bring these children home. It resulted in 9 arrests and included recoveries potentially leading to additional future charges of human trafficking, child endangerment, and custodial interference. During this operation, endangered children missing from North Florida were recovered not only locally, but also in other states, including Tennessee, Mississippi, and Louisiana. This was the most successful missing child operation ever conducted in Northern Florida. Because of the tireless dedication of the U.S. Marshals and our law enforcement partners, 43 endangered children will now be home safe for the holidays. So, you know, the other thing to understand is we've successfully, thanks to DHS, thanks to Trump, thanks to ICE, thanks to Holman, thanks to Nome, we have gotten rid of 2.5 million illegal people, illegal citizens in this country, trying to be citizens in this country. And hopefully this $3,000 little bump will turn that up as well, because this is something that has been a long time coming since they started crossing the border, and let me share this with you as well. This is from Wall Street Apes on how they're going about this now.
ICE just built a full AI hunting system, and it's already targeting 1.5 million people. First, there's Palantir's Immigration OS. It pulls data from the FBI, IRS, Social Security, DMV records, even traffic cameras all into one platform. The AI analyzes everything, detects patterns, and flags who to go after. ICE paid Palantir $30 million for it. Then there's the capture layer. According to 404 Media, ICE just paid a company called AI Solutions 87 to deploy AI bounty hunters. Their agents map your friends, family, and locations, then hand that to human contractors who verify your address through physical surveillance. One contractor recruited people on LinkedIn to stalk targets for $300. Palantir tells ICE who to target. AI Solutions 87 tells them where to find you. ICE just built a full AI hunting system, and it's already targeting 1.5 million people. First, there's...
So they're using Palantir, like people have been warning us about, and yet this is being used to get our freedom back for our country and get rid of all of the people that are making that very, very difficult to live safely. This is further news about the Department of Transportation. Sean Duffy has put this notice out.
And breaking news right now, the Department of Transportation announcing formal action against 3 states for failing to enforce federal English language proficiency requirements for commercial motor vehicle drivers. Listen here.
We've identified several states that have not been in compliance. That would be Washington, California, and New Mexico. Those are the three states that have not complied with this rule. We are going to give these states 30 days to come into compliance with truck drivers speaking proficiently the English language, or we're going to look at federal funding.
Okay, so the reason this is important, Bill, you were with me yesterday. We were talking to the state of Florida because they have just started to require these English language proficiency tests at weigh stations for commercial truck drivers. This after the Indian driver who didn't speak any English killed 3 people in April.
And you were curious kind of how those English tests work. I think you said it's 16 different questions also involving road signs. But yeah, Florida bringing the hammer down. You just heard Sean Duffy say there, if you don't get up to par with this, we're gonna start removing some of your federal funding. And they announced yesterday they're turning all of their weigh stations and agriculture checkpoints into federal immigration enforcement. So any of these like illegal immigrant drivers who are out there with IDs from different states, there's a lot of weigh stations in the state of Florida, and they might start getting caught up soon.
So Sean Duffy just announcing that, and we'll no doubt there'll be more. And I don't know if he will be at the cabinet meeting. That's happening at 11. So this could be a question that the president gets there as well.
Yeah. Speaking of states that are going to have some problem, this is from Megastorm on X right here. Gavin Newsom just got nailed in what's being called a massive federal money laundering scheme, and the details are staggering. Here's how it allegedly worked. California jacked up ambulance fees by nearly 300%, then used those inflated prices to demand federal reimbursements. But the costs were fake. After the money came in, the state paid private ambulance companies a tiny fraction of the billed amount and kept the rest. We're talking billions. Investigators reviewing California's medical finance records describe it as one of the largest and most complex financial schemes uncovered in modern history. Under Newsom's leadership, California allegedly pulled taxpayer money from across the country to patch its own budget holes. How it operated. Launched under the Genesis Plan in 2022, local hospitals or counties sent money to the state via intergovernmental transfers for ambulance services. The state then requested matching federal Medicaid funds. California artificially inflated ambulance prices, some by 300 to 500%. After receiving federal money, the state paid private providers the real lower cost. The difference was pocketed to offset California's budget shortfalls. Example, ambulance reimbursement rates jumped from $339 to as high as $1,600 per ride. Federal government matched roughly 50%. Private providers were paid far less. The surplus stayed with the state. This wasn't a paperwork era. It was a deliberate system built to siphon federal money. It's time for real accountability for Gavin Newsom and California Democrats who allowed this to happen. This is just one of the many frauds going on in California. The other one is certainly a similar situation to what's been going on in Minnesota with the illegal migrants, and also giving away CDL licenses that we were just talking about with that story that I just showed you. Let me pull this up.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement have arrested 101 illegal alien semi-truck drivers and seized their commercial driver's licenses in a California operation called Operation Highway Sentinel. Most of the arrests took place on highways and ports throughout the state. Democratic California Governor Gavin Newsom has rejected the Trump administration's effort to arrest illegal migrant truck drivers. Immigration and Customs Enforcement have arrested 101
that they've arrested. 101. So that's all being exposed. Also, the exposure of the homeless money that California got that didn't get rid of homeless people at all, and oh my God, it's funny. In the Epstein files, this was released of President Trump with another prostitute. Of course, the redactions are there for the purpose of protecting the victims and the prostitutes themselves. I thought that was pretty damn funny. And that is by Mr. Star Spangled Banner. There you go. Yeah, I want to play this one for you too. Yeah, let me play this for you now. But before we get to this, going back to Minnesota, 98 Minnesota mayors of the state are demanding accountability for their pathetic, they're 33rd in GDP growth, 39th in job growth, 40th in labor force growth, 33rd in per capita income growth, 46th in median income household growth, 44th in tech job growth, 44th in overall tax competitiveness, net out migration of nearly 48,000 residents from 2020 to 2024. So they're basically saying these are real pressures on our cities, and we demand answers. So we as mayors can only support our cities for so long before the heavy hand of state mandates and financial pressure demands more than our communities can provide. So not only are the feds calling out the leadership in Minnesota, but the mayors of Minnesota as well. Somebody asked me if I ever played basketball with George Webb. Not to my knowledge, but if he played basketball in New York, very much, I very, very well could have, but he certainly didn't leave any impression if that's the case. And I actually played basketball again yesterday. So my body's feeling it a little bit, but it felt great to get up and down and play really well. Now that I'm back in shape and I can actually, function, my body functions much better, but it felt great to play yesterday. But man, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Edward, good to see you, brother. And hi, Jingle. Hi, Ravens Wings. Good to see you, Edward. I was clicking on you. And how you doing, Jasper? Hello, Dave. He's at my feet right now. He's at my feet. And by the way, Lindell is projected to win Minnesota. I think he's got a projection of 53% of the votes. Penny, for your thoughts. So I think it's very likely we'll see Lindell. That would be an amazing thing. I tell you, that state would turn around on a dime with Lindell. No question about it. It's one of those things where, if you've got like the worst employee in the world and you hire somebody, you don't know how good they are, but they've shown, themselves to be very, very, effective doing other things like running businesses, like multi-million-dollar businesses like Lindell, and also calling out all the fraud in the election. If he did nothing when he got into office, but got rid of some of the ridiculous policies that Walz has put in, that would be amazing, right? What's happening in Georgia right now with the election, what's happening let me read about Katie Hobbs for you, man of memes. Oh man, the Katie Hobbs scandal just went DEFCON 1. This is way uglier than anyone thought. And Arizona's Democrat governor is now staring down a full-blown racketeering investigation. Here are the receipts. A foster care group home operator, Sunshine Residential Homes, quietly pumped $400,000 into Hobbs's campaign. Her inauguration fund, the Arizona Democratic Party, and right after the crash hit, Hobbs' administration approved a massive 60% rate hike for Sunshine, the only provider to get such a deal. Wonder how that happened. Payments jumped from $195 to $234 per child per day, unlocking millions in taxpayer dollars for one politically connected company. They even expanded Sunshine's contract from 280 kids to 322 kids. The timeline is devastating. Sunshine drops $200,000 during Hobbs' campaign. State denies the rate hike. Sunshine then donates $100,000 to Hobbs' inauguration. Suddenly, Hobbs approved the rate hike. Sunshine sends another $100,000. The Arizona Republic blows the whole thing open. Lawmakers say it's exactly what it looks like, a pay-to-play scheme, bribery, fraud, conflicts of interest, and because of the repeated donations, state favors pattern, potential RICO violations. If this were any other state, people would already be in cuffs. Arizona deserves answers, and this scandal is nowhere near over. And of course, Katie Hobbs was, the one responsible for getting Joe Biden Arizona, and her reward, of course, was very much. Hold on, I'm just seeing where I'm going to take you next here. Wow, so much to share with you. So much to share. I did want to take you to the what's going on in Georgia. That's what I'm looking for, is what's happening in Georgia, because that is really interesting. Here we go. This was from a couple of days ago, but it is, they tried to impeach President Trump on this phone call with Raffensperger. Let me play this for you.
I've not seen the tapes myself, but we do not dispute that the tapes were not signed. It was a violation of the rule. Since 2020,
hold on.
Again, we have I've not seen the tapes myself, but we do not dispute that the tapes were not signed. It was a violation of the rule. Since 2020, again, we have new leadership and a new building and a new board and new standard operating procedures. And since then, the training has been enhanced. The poll watchers are trained specifically. They've got to sign the tapes in the morning, and they've got to sign the tapes when they're run at the end of the day. When the tapes come back to the hub for, with all the documentation, they are checked again. And if somebody forgot to sign a tape, then Fulton initiates an investigation. But we don't dispute the allegation. I've not seen the tapes.
So they don't dispute the allegation. They're going to look deeper, and we're going to find quite the criminality there in Fulton County. This has to do with the money, the USAID and Vindman. Okay, hold on a sec. Elon Musk posted that Alexander Vindman has received a tremendous amount of money from USAID, and he was the one that was trying to throw Trump under the bus, if you'll remember, and he was also still an active U.S. serviceman.
Former boss, Mr. Morrison, is going to be sitting right where you're sitting, and he's going to testify. And I want to give you a chance. I think we're bringing you a copy. I want to give you a chance to respond to some of the things Mr. Morrison said in his deposition, page 82 of the transcript from Mr. Morrison. Mr. Morrison said this: I had concerns about Lieutenant Colonel Vindman's judgment. Among the discussions I had with Dr. Hill in the transition was our team, its strength, its weaknesses, and Fiona and others had raised concerns about Alex's judgment. When Mr. Morris was asked by Mr. Castor Did anyone ever bring concerns to you that they believe Colonel Vindman may have leaked something? Mr. Morrison replied, yes. So your boss had concerns about your judgment. Your former boss, Dr. Hill, had concerns about your judgment. Your colleagues had concerns about your judgment, and your colleagues felt that there were times when you leaked information. Any idea why they have those impressions, Colonel Vindman? Former boss, Mr. Morrison, is going to be sitting right where you're sitting, and he's going to testify. And I want to give you a chance.
So Alexander Vindman pitched $12 million scheme to profit off Ukraine war funds. Rachel Vindman, whatever happens to my family, know this. No pardons were offered or discussed. I cannot begin to describe the level of betrayal and hurt I feel. And this was Elon Musk. Vindman is on the payroll of Ukrainian oligarchs and has committed treason against the U.S., for which he will pay the appropriate penalty. And this is from Real Robert, who I've shared with you before. The Department of War is now officially calling for an ethics inquiry into Representative Eugene Vindman, Democratic Virginia, over business deals. He and his brother, retired Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Rat Vindman, struck in Ukraine while Eugene was simultaneously part of a State Department USAID-funded inquiry into Russia in Ukraine. The Pentagon's General Counsel Earl Matthews sent a letter to House Ethics Committee Chairman Michael Guest, Republican Mississippi, as well as to the leaders of the House Armed Services and Oversight Committees. The letters urged an ethics-related inquiry into the efforts undertaken by Eugene, elected to Congress in 2024, if you remember, they're twin brothers, and by his brother Alexander, as the brothers each worked with U.S. defense companies and the Ukrainian government to pursue potentially lucrative contracts in the war-torn country. At the same time, Eugene was also being funded by the State Department, USAID, for Russian war crimes in work in Ukraine. So this is, this is very interesting. But again, it's also taking us to a point where we're seeing these clowns being investigated, and this is really, really important. This is here. Let me take you to this. Back on to the Georgia situation.
And you have many in Fulton, where they dumped ballots. You will find that you have many that aren't even signed, and you have many that are forgeries. Okay? You know that. You know that. You have no doubt about that. And you will find you will be at 11,779 within minutes, because Fulton County is totally corrupt, and so is she totally corrupt. And they're going around playing you and laughing at you behind your back, Brad. Whether you know it or not, they're laughing at you. And you've taken a state that's a Republican state, and you've made it almost impossible for a Republican to win because of cheating, because they cheated like nobody's ever cheated before. In Fulton, where they dumped ballots.
And then, of course, the video I just showed you, we don't dispute 315,000 votes lacking poll workers' signatures were counted in 2020. They're not even disputing this. All right, this is just pure election interference, and remember scenes like this in Georgia, the USB being grabbed. Yeah, these people that were caught cheating were actually, was it the Presidential Medal of Freedom that Biden gave them? And they were caught cheating. Not just this person, but I'm sorry. This is the video I wanted to show you. But we showed this in real time when it was being released. We showed the women who were pulling, the people that were pulling the bags out of the out from underneath the tables after they were told that there was a water leak, a pipe leak. Remember that? And then all of a sudden, Biden was winning after that. Yeah. Yeah, so shit's gonna hit the fan, and here it is, Ruby Freeman. Yeah, that was her name.
Evidence of a poll worker named Ruby Freeman running the same stack of ballots through the counting machines multiple times. Ironically, Ruby Freeman was later given the Presidential Citizens Medal by Joe Biden for her work during the 2020 election.
Oh yeah, she was rewarded, all right. Just like Katie Hobbs was rewarded, okay? Just like the people that put away Tina Peters in Colorado were rewarded. This was if you play their game, if you support what they're doing, you're going to be rewarded without question. Okay. And this was, let me go to President Trump. He was asked about the president of Colombia. Here we go.
So in response to the United States taking sanctioned oil from Venezuela, Colombian President Gustavo Petro criticized the United States by saying, well, the Southwest is stolen land and that it should be returned to Latin America. I just wanted to know what your response to that is.
Well, he has to watch because, he's got drug factories. They make cocaine in Colombia. And he's no friend of the United States. He's very bad guy. And he's got to watch his ass because he makes cocaine and they send it into the United States of America from Colombia. We love the Colombian people. I love the Colombian people. They're great people, energetic, smart, great. But their new leader is a troublemaker. And you better watch it. You better close up those cocaine factories. They have at least 3 major cocaine factories. We know where they are. You better close them up fast, yeah.
So in response to the United States taking sanctioned oil.
And we know where they are. How about that? And he's waging war on the narco terrorists. And so this is Venezuela is the tip of the iceberg, my friends. This is President Trump talking about, they're building ships now, right? So they're building ships. He calls them the Golden Fleet of the biggest ships you've ever seen. And this, he also had this to add.
For them, to allies or to ourselves. Takes too long. The only way they're going to be able to deliver them is if they.
Hold on. It's very low. Let me see if I can bump up the audio here. Well, you might have to turn up your volume. Here we go.
For them, to allies or to ourselves. Takes too long. The only way they're going to be able to deliver them is if they build new plants. They don't want to build new plants because that's expensive. So we're going to be discussing production schedules. We're going to be discussing CapEx spending. We'll be discussing the pay to executives where they're making $45 and $50 million a year and not being able to build quickly. They're going to make that kind of money. They have to build quickly. Again, we make the best equipment in the world, but they don't make them fast enough. And we're going to be also discussing dividends. We want the dividends to go into the creation of production facilities. So we'll be talking about all CapEx, dividends, and the pay. We're also going to be talking about buybacks. They spend so much money on buybacks. They want to buy back their stock. I don't want them to buy back their stock. I want them to put the money in plant and equipment so they can build these planes fast, rapidly, like immediately. I mean, I have sold more planes than any president by far, times probably 20. So every time I go someplace, I sell 100 planes. That includes commercial planes.
So this is, you know, he's also calling out the defense industry, like, you guys got to step it up and you got to build these when we need them and quickly. We don't have time for a lot of nonsense. So let me play this for you here.
We have seen an increase.
So Chris Hansen is a guy who catches, people wanting to have sex with minors.
Increase in illegal immigrants being caught in our stings across the country. And it seems today that we can't do a sting, whether we're in the South or the Midwest or West Coast or East Coast, without catching somebody who's in this country illegally. We have seen an increase.
So the people that they're catching are in this country illegally. And these are the predators. These are the people that we need to get out of our country. And it's very important that we, that we keep that in mind. This is, I want to play a little bit of Mike Benz for you here on the Epstein situation. Let me pull this up.
Jeffrey Epstein negotiated the fucking contract to move the CIA's proprietary airliner, Southern Air Transport, which was busted running drugs and guns during Iran-Contra. He personally was the authorized signatory on the deal with Southern Air Transport to move it to a military base in Columbus, Ohio, to service the limited. Hey, any of you guys got any bright ideas about how you would go about in 1994 convincing the Central Intelligence Agency to move its proprietary CIA airline used for covert operations based in Miami to fucking up and move its entire operation to fucking Columbus, Ohio, just to service your personal company instead of the CIA? What do you think, he cold called the CIA? You think he just schmoozed the CIA? Or is it because he was handling Adnan Khashoggi's money during Iran-Contra that purchased the guns that Southern Air Transport a decade earlier was moving?
Yeah. We got to be careful. We've got to make sure that we're doing, we're really looking at the Epstein files objectively, because most everybody is looking at them in a way that they're trying to find President Trump, right? And trying to find out what he's all about. Folks, if you would, please, as we wrap up the 2 hours, get your name on the wheel for a spin for a free year of Snedheads and a t-shirt. You can donate via Zelle or give Send Go, and also Donation Nation, or the link that Moonbeam or I have dropped in the chat. If you'd like to support my work, please do so. Especially Christmas time, it is much appreciated. And I will be coming back to you most likely over the weekend after Christmas. And I'll let you know on Snedheads X and Telegram what my schedule's going to be. But I'm definitely going to be taking off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And so tomorrow night will be the last show before Christmas, and we will hopefully have enough to spin the wheel. Also, if you have ordered on the following, let me see, the Sned shop. Okay, let me pull that up for you here. Where is it? I got too much up here. Please tip your waiter. By the way, tips are not taxed, my friends, up to 25,000. So please know that I'm getting 100% of your money if you go in through the ways in which I've shared with you, other than, you know, credit card fees and so forth. But the one I wanted to share with you is, and of course, here's my address if you want to send a Christmas card via the mail. I'm going to go check that, I think, tomorrow, so that I can share some of the Christmas cards that you all have sent me. Here's one, and I've got a few others here. Beautiful cards from you all, and so grateful to you thinking of me and my family during these holidays. And yeah, you know, I'm not getting a lot for Christmas, nor is my ex, but we're wanting to give our daughter certainly a nice Christmas, and we're doing so. But it's mostly clothes, mostly stuff that she wears daily to school and everything. But I don't really need much. I mean, it's like, you know, so we're not really doing much for ourselves, but we're taking care of our daughter. Few you know, presents for our beloved pets, and so, you know, Jasper and Whiskers will have a nice little get together, and hopefully have a nice Christmas. So, and I hope you all do as well. And so, what was I just gonna share with you here? The Sned shop. If you go to my Shopify, snedshop.myshopify.com, you can, if you ordered back in September, there were just a handful out of dozens that for some reason didn't get your order. I have refunded your order into store credit. So if you want to just replace your order, please do so. If you don't want to do that and you just want your money back, please reach out to me, DaveSned@gmail.com. But basically, you have the ability to just place the exact same order, and it won't cost you anything because you have store credit for that. So I hope that works for you. And if it doesn't, please reach out to me, DaveSned@gmail.com, and let me know what you would like to do. And there's my email right there. So yeah, my friends, and please, if you're looking to get some fantastic beef, lightningspringsranch.com, small family farm, use SNED at checkout for 5% off to get some great stuff for New Year's, maybe. Great beef, great steaks, fantastic. Please check them out. We're supporting a small family farm in eastern Utah that is grass-fed, grass-finished, you know, organic beef. Of course, we've got our friends Jim and Jasmine, Saint Solutions for colloidal silver, Mysterium, Purple Pets. Use SNED 17 at checkout for 12% off your order. And then yes, so please check that all out. And also, if you want to learn more about crypto, please go to Kraken. Please go in through this link that Moonbeam is dropping, because you will find that if you go through the steps in the first 14 days, that you will find that you will be able to get $75, and I will be able to get $75. So that's a pretty cool thing. And it allows you to buy SHX, which is the only on the Kraken exchange, and you can still get that for like a penny. So that's pretty darn good. All right, my friends, that's it for tonight. I'm trying to keep all shows under 2 hours, both for your enjoyment and your time constraints, but also it allows me to put it into an AI clip generator so that I can start taking clips out of the show on different topics to share out onto the big tech platforms as well as Snedheads. And please join us over on snedheads.com as well. You're going to love it. It's really cool, really cool. And the show is up on snedheads.com as well. And I'm also, as over either between Christmas and the New Year's, I'm going to do a show exclusively on Snedheads. Again, it's free to join, but it's $17 if you want to support the community and support my work. $17 a month, but also a lot of great research tools. And you also become a part of a revenue share that I'm setting up going into 2026. I think you're going to love it. It's the only platform where everything you share, when people come in and join, whether free membership or paid membership, you get tokens, and each of those tokens have a monetary value of the revenue of Snedheads, which is soon to become the Rubicon. So that's what's going on with that. Some pretty awesome news. It's the only, big tech, not big tech, small tech social platform out there that's actually going to reward you for just sharing stories that you would share anyway. All right, my friends, much love to you. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow night as the final show before Christmas. Much love. Bye-bye.